What's up, guys? Micah and Jordan here, and this is In From You, an XFL podcast. How you doing, Jordan?
I'm doing fantastic, Mike. How about yourself?
Yeah, doing good. I think we're just excited about this week 3, right?
I mean, sure.
we're getting the roll of this thing now. I feel like
3 weeks down, 7 weeks to go till playoffs.
I mean,
I feel like we're feeling pretty good, personally.
and we look at it last week, and there was a lot of hate going around about the XFL, right?
I mean, we didn't go in depth with hate, but we definitely presented some issues.
There was a couple of shows out there that shall remain nameless, though, that were digging deep in the XFL, and it felt like week 2 was that sophomore growing pains a little bit.
Maybe.
But let me tell you, week 3.
It's exciting.
Talk about a comeback for the XFL. I feel like this league really found its footholds this past week.
Yeah, well, last week we talked about lack of competition. We were afraid that there was too many teams in the league that just couldn't be able to keep up with the Roughnecks and Defenders. And then you look at this week, there's a team that we thought was completely irrelevant that played well against the Roughnecks.
Yeah.
And then we have a team that smashed the Defenders that, again, seemed irrelevant in the Wildcats. So.
I mean, we asked for competition in the XFL, and we got it in flying colors. I mean, there were a lot of haters last week, like I said, and I just think the upset in L.A. for the Wildcats, that is a big deal for that program. That may go down in history as the defining moment in the franchise history.
Well, certainly, yes.
We look back, and we're going to play the man, the myth, the legend, Cardell Jones, who's undefeated as a starter, now gets that one little notch. He's 13-1 as a starter. But, I mean, the Defenders seem like they're unbeatable, right? Pep Hamilton, the swagger, the connection between him and Cardell, it just seemed unbeatable. And I think a lot of us, thinking the Wildcats, they come out week 1, they play P.J. Walker, right? P.J. Walker tears them up. You're like, okay, they fire their defensive coordinator, Pepper Johnson. Get out of here. This is the XFL. We do things like that. And, all of us are like, whoa, kind of stunned. And then they go out week 2, first home game. They play the Renegades, and they get beat. And it was honestly one of the worst football games I've ever witnessed in my life.
Yeah.
And then week 3, talk about a change of tide for this team. I mean, people come out of the woodworks for this one.
No doubt about it. And I think it just kind of proves something that the XFL has tried to exhibit in throughout their first 3 weeks is that they want to make sure that that us as fans know that any team is beatable.
Oh, yeah.
So I think this week definitely proved that, and that was something that, again, we talked about. We were a little bit afraid that wouldn't be able to continue in the first year of XFL football. This week showed, in fact, every team can be competitive. It just comes down to execution. And realistically, every team, besides the losing, obviously, as we mentioned, the Defenders did not play great. And then the Guardians were just
Guardians
trash.
didn't play great either.
Other than that, I think every other team executed basically to their potential.
I like to shout out the Vipers, for giving.
No doubt.
Roughnecks, and they're no slouch. We've said that week in and week out. And the Vipers, being able to come out and put up a good showing.
No doubt about it.
Is pretty good.
Also, along with that, we talked last week, and again, it was another highlight towards week 2. The issues that surrounded the XFL was quarterback play.
Mm-hmm.
And this week, I think we kind of saw a lot of quarterbacks play to their potential, which was cool to see. Obviously, P.J. Walker does what he does.
Oh, P.J. Walker.
Landry Jones kind of had the same, outing as last week, but still pretty good.
Yeah.
And then also, we talked about Josh Johnson yesterday when we met for a discussion. He was fantastic.
Oh, man.
And then even Brandon Silvers or Cornelius on the Vipers, they all kind of had their moments this week. So there weren't too many bad quarterback playing teams this week. So.
I think it's like we talked about last week where these teams, they only met about a month or 2 ago. And so you're still building that chemistry, you're still building the trust, the coaches. It's tough. Football is a tough sport to be able to produce a product. Really, any sport, be able to produce a product in that short amount of time. And when you finally get to start to see these connections, things are starting to click, starting to understand it better, and you're going to start seeing this better play.
No doubt about it. And can we give some love to receivers? I made sure to write that down in the beginning because it was just an unbelievable production from a multitude of receivers around the XFL. 5 receivers caught for more than 80 yards, which was awesome. And I think it was 4 of them that caught for over 100. So, and to me, if there's one player that you just kind of have to rank as your XFL player of the week, it's got to be Cam Phillips for the Roughnecks.
Oh, yeah,
receiver was just.
What do you have, 4 touchdowns somewhere?
3 touchdowns, 100, almost 200 yards receiving. He was a monster.
I think he's leading the league with 7 touchdowns at receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, that guy has been electric for that connection between him and P.J. Walker has been unreal.
Yeah.
And I think we also got to shout out McBride for the Wildcats. He came out of nowhere, right? 109 receiving yards, 2 TDs. It just seems like nobody could cover him on that streak down the middle. Just simple go route. and Josh Johnson just tosses it right down to him, and
then
then makes that contested catch.
Of course, Spruce on that team. They got a good receiving. Good receiving.
Well, we knew
there.
Spruce coming in was amazing, and the defenders made sure to, kind of key on him. He was double covered a lot in situations, and McBride stepped up in a big way and being able to catch those balls and those tight windows and for TDs like they missed a week ago.
Yeah.
And this week they were just executing.
Yeah, I think this week the moral of the story is that half the script was taken. There's still this part of the script that everyone's kind of like, okay, yeah, obviously the Roughnecks are great. The Guardians have their issues that they have to mend. But in terms of the Vipers being the worst football team in America, which was something I don't think a lot of people could have doubted, or professional football team in America. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they have, they played a pretty great game against the Roughnecks at home. And then you see the defenders collapse. It was just the script was flipping.
Yeah.
And it was cool to watch. And I think that's really what makes exciting football is unpredictability.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I think the league, at least this week made a transition to being much more unpredictable.
Yeah. I think it was definitely a wake-up call for a lot of teams like the defenders. Not so much the Roughnecks, but a little bit, that it's a closer game than you'd to have it. But a little bit of a wake-up call that, this – you may think you're good week 1, week 2, but these teams, they're going to keep grinding away, keep preparing, keep getting better and better and better every day, keep, stacking those bricks up, building that foundation for a team, and you're going to start seeing these guys play better football and coming for your throat, man.
No doubt. What else do you want to talk about the social media before we get to game?
Oh yeah. I feel like it's pretty.
Yeah.
Something that's been a highlight for me is just being on Twitter, and obviously if you guys don't follow us in with the new XFL podcast on Twitter, please follow us.
Yes.
But there are some pretty hilarious tweets out there. I think the XFL is doing a great job with their marketing campaign and their whole PR and everything that they're going with. Kind of like all the teams each have their own too, and there's a little bit of war. Like yesterday I saw the Wildcats tweeted out, here, I'll fix this for you, like with a little star, like insert fix here. And it was Cardinal Jones's 13-0 that they had. Our quarterback's defeated 13-0. And they put a 13-1, like with just
a little bit of
little asterisk, a little bit of trash talking on social media. I love it. I feel like you don't really see that in the NFL, right? It's much more professional. I feel like out here, it's
and when it does happen, it's like fantastic. I think fans really enjoy that part of any competitive, sport in terms of social media marketing. We love to see these teams kind of escape their professional standard and kind of jump into like the modern, trendy, humorous,
Twitter trolls.
Exactly.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah. And the XFL, you're right. I think they've done a great job with that. Definitely engaging, with our social media page, in with the new XFL.com. Make sure, or .com, what am I talking about? In with the new XFL. Follow on Twitter. It's been great to see, just the engagement in general in terms of all the pages that are out there. And then I would like to mention, if you're an XFL fan, you probably know who Connor Folk is. He's like kind of like the head guy for the XFL News Hub, which is kind of like the biggest like media following the XFL has besides the league itself. And he's like the reporter for that and like the big guy. He's kind of like the Adam Scheffner of XFL, and Ken Rosenthal of whatever. It's just he's like the main guy.
Yeah.
So, and I think he's done a great job. So, but yeah, I agree. I think in terms of social media marketing, it's been real fun to engage with, 100%.
Oh yeah, I'm reading through some of these; they're pretty hilarious.
That's good.
Absolute trash talking on here, and a little bit of pettiness, but I think the fans like it, and they like that idea.
Yeah, sure. You might as well be a little petty.
Oh yeah,
what's the fun in not being petty? Yeah.